jumping on and investing in your business today. My name's Aaron Lacey. I'm a psychology-driven digital marketing coach for real estate. And I've been in the real estate space for 20 years, was born in the real estate space. My parents both in real estate. And so I've been in multiple facets of the industry, from having my broker's license to managing agents, managing brokerages. And I am really a digital marketing a digital marketing consultant coach, and I help agents really level up in their business, identify blind spots, because you don't know what you don't know, and there's a lot of moving parts in this industry. So excited to be able to talk with you today about really operating with intention, setting goals, and executing. And so today is all about you. How can we bring something to you today that's going to cause you to see an opportunity for growth in your business? That's the name of the game for you today. So again, thank you so much for joining, investing in your business, and thank you too to Charles Jeans, the tattooed inspector, Austin Shaw, SWBC Mortgage, for sponsoring today's session. You guys definitely give them a shot. Reach out to them, connect with them, and see what they can do for you. They're here to serve you and help you. And then, of course, thank you to this great association for making this happen. So here we are. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to cover just quickly who I am, and then we're going to dive in a little deeper. So I mentioned I'm a psychology-driven digital marketing coach for real estate, and I work with a company called My Home, and My Home is a sister company of WFG National Title. I am an NAR certified technology instructor. I'm an Inman contributing author and ambassador, and I've spent really the last 10 years fully immersed in the digital marketing space. So, marketing tools, lead generation, technology, social media, as it relates to real estate agents and helping them leverage those tools to grow their business. So let's go ahead and set the stage on our topic today. And again, we're going to cover how to really operate with intention and the value and power of goal setting in today's session. I think it's, even though we're in the middle of February here, I think it's absolutely critical that we tap into these opportunities for our business, which can really create massive growth for us. And I'm going to share with you, how we're going to do that. So first things first, though, in order for us to really, perform at our highest, we need to make sure that we're dialed in and we're managing ourselves well. So we're eating well, we're drinking enough water, right? We're taking care of our bodies, our vessels, so that we can utilize our minds effectively. Because if we have an ailment, we're going to be thinking about that instead of thinking about opportunities in our business. So again, just want to touch on some basic core fundamentals, taking care of our body and then taking care of our minds, you guys. The two different mindsets that I'm checking in on every single day are a mindset on the right-hand side of abundance. And if you look at the abundance wheel, you see at the very top is gratitude. I am focusing on areas where I can find gratitude in the moment, in what I'm doing, in my situation and scenario. And oftentimes, sometimes I'll be in a fear-driven mindset, an anxiety-driven mindset, where I will think to myself, you know what, I have to do something today. I don't really want to do it, but I have to do it. And you know what? I do my best to intentionally stop myself and say, it's not that I have to do this, it's that I get to do this. And you guys, operating from a place of, I get to talk with you today. You get to learn today. You get to experience something that's going to cause your business to grow. It can be a paradigm shift for you. So here's what I would say. As you go throughout the day, just check in with yourself. Are you operating from a place of gratitude, which leads to peace of mind, wise choices, and positive outcomes, right? An abundance mindset. Or are we operating from a mindset of scarcity, which is fear-driven, anxiety-driven, leads to poor choices and negative outcomes? And as my kindergarten son told me one day when he came home from school, I said something to him, and I think I was like, in a bad mood. And he said, Aaron, you're operating in a fixed mindset. And I looked down, I said, Lucas, what did you say? He said, you're operating a fixed mindset. And I said, where did you learn that? He said, I learned that in kindergarten. I said, no way, dude. That's awesome. And so fixed mindset would be a mindset of scarcity, and the opposite of a fixed mindset is a growth mindset, and that's a mindset of abundance. But can you believe that they're learning this stuff in kindergarten now? It's pretty crazy. Pretty cool. And then one other thing I wanted to touch on today, as a CEO, which is really kind of the umbrella for this session today, but it's really the umbrella for you and the way that you operate. As an independent contractor, you are your own boss, right? You're also your own marketing person. You're also, you wear a lot of different hats. But what I would say to you is, you've heard it 1,000 times that this is a relationship-based business, right? And for you, I would ask you, are you operating as a relational agent as opposed to a transactional agent? And again, I would encourage you, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this graphic today, but definitely take a look at this graphic when you get a chance. It's going to be posted, as Lisa said, to the website. I think it's going to be on the YouTube channel as well. But look at the traits of a relational agent versus a transactional agent and identify those traits in yourself. And here's what I would say. As you go about your day, identify if you are carrying the characteristics of a relational agent versus a transactional agent. Let me just touch on a few of these. Relational agents believe they were born to win. They operate with intention. They focus on relationship, right? They have the mindset, a growth-based mindset, right? Really an abundance-based mindset. They focus on one task at a time versus multitasking, right? They are setting goals and they're tracking their performance. They're working with others, okay? And they're taking care of their bodies, right? So they're in good health. So again, check in on this, you guys. Check in on yourselves, and make sure that you're positioning yourself for success, okay? Because we know this industry is tough, right? We are wearing 5, 10, 15, 20 hats. In fact, my role wouldn't exist as a digital marketing coach, a business strategist for real estate, if you were just focused on one single task, one single kind of objective every day. But really, you're wearing a lot of different hats. And frankly, as we pursue each of those different requirements in our business, we're going up and down through a roller coaster, as we know. And the roller coaster is not just a financial roller coaster, it's an emotional roller coaster as well. And I've been there. And it's tough not knowing where our next deal is going to come from. We're going 1, 2, 3 months without a closing. My goal for you is to smooth this out, right? Is so that when you start operating with more intention, no longer are you on this roller coaster. So let's go ahead and get started. And I want to start off with a great quote. And this quote is, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. Okay. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, because having a business plan puts you on a clear track that makes your business 75% more likely to grow. Okay. 75% more likely to grow. And if that's a goal for you to grow your business this year, and I know we're coming out of COVID, we had a couple good years, 2020, 2021. Last year was interesting. This year, interesting year as well. But I can tell you this, I get to work with hundreds of agents all over the country, and I'm seeing agents having their best years right now. I have an agent that has been licensed for 5 years. Last year was their best year, and this year is projected to be their best year yet. So regardless of what's happening in the market, you guys, there's opportunity for you, but at the end of the day, you only have control of your mindset and your behavior. And I would tell you this, it's never too late to put a plan in place. So our agenda today, and you guys, by the way, again, like Lisa said, if you have any questions, comments, feel free to unmute yourself, or you can type right into chat. Okay. And I love Rachel said, this is my first year. Then Rachel, perfect timing for you. But even if this was your 20th year, phenomenal timing for you to become and operate more intentionally, become more like a CEO for your business. So we're going to cover 2 laws for effective business management today. Number 1 is setting goals, and the second is operating with intention. operating with intention. And we can operate with intention at all times throughout the day, right? It doesn't require extra effort to just be intentional. What it requires is for us to just check in and understand what we're doing in that moment, not to just operate out of habit, but operate purposefully. Okay. And I can tell you this, scrolling through social media aimlessly is not operating with intention. And it's easy to get into that mode. Very, very easy. So here's what I would ask you. A couple things. Number one is, if you were to hire yourself, what would you pay for yourself hourly based on your production? Okay, based on your production. Then the other thing is, what are you worth per hour? And here's an example. This is just a brief calculation of what you're worth per hour. If we look at the very top of this, number one, how many transactions are you doing per month? Let's just say you're closing 2 transactions a month on average. And then we look at number two, what is your average price point? Let's say your average price point is $350. And my guess is your average price point is more than that. Okay, but let's just say $350. And underneath that, what is your average commission? We'll say on average, you get about 2.75% of a side. And let's say that you're working 50 hours a week. And by the way, it's easy to work 50 hours a week in this business. In fact, 50 hours a week might be part-time for some of us in this business. I'm going to share with you why we shouldn't be working 50 hours a week. But again, I know a lot of us, we're working all hours of the day and night. If you actually calculate how often you're working, you'd be surprised how much you actually work. It's pretty incredible. Even if you're hard on yourself and you think you're not working as hard as maybe you could be, you're working more than you think you are, would be my assumption. So you're working, let's just say 50 hours a week on average. And let's say your monthly expenses around $3,000. If we break that down and we look at your gross income calculation, average price point $350, 2.75% commission rate, that's around $9,600 per closing. Times 2 transactions a month, that's around $19,000 in gross income, gross commission income, GCI. And if we look at dollar for dollar, the bottom right square, we take that 19,000 GCI, we subtract your expenses, leaves you with a $16,000 net income divided by 50 hours in a week. That leaves you earning $81 an hour. Not bad, but maybe that's not good, right? Maybe you're worth more than that. And here's what I would say for you. One great way to operate with intention is to pick a dollar per hour for yourself. Say $100 an hour. Okay, I would say a minimum of $50 an hour. You're worth a minimum of $50 an hour, if not 100. Okay, I set a $200 an hour for myself, so that when I'm doing anything, I just know that it's costing me $200 an hour for whatever it is I'm doing. So I look at my tasks. If I'm scrolling through TikTok, I'm saying to myself, man, I'm paying $200 an hour to scroll through TikTok right now, because I could be doing something that earns me $200 an hour. But realistically, calculate what your hourly value is. And then when you find yourself doing something that's not in alignment with your cost, your value, make a change. Okay, so let's dive into law number one. Law number one, write down your goals, right? Write down your goals, set goals. Because you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down, right? And I know a lot of us, we want to achieve certain things. We have it in our head. And, I get to meet with a lot of agents. I do probably 5 to 10 coaching calls every single day. On an average month, I'll have coached with, 200 to 300 agents one-on-one. And, and I talk to a lot of agents, and most of them, I would say over 50%, have never written down a goal. But they say, but Aaron, I have my goals in my head. Like, I know what I want to accomplish. I know what I want to do. I know how much money I want to make. But it's amazing what happens when we write something down. It's like it materializes itself. It manifests itself as something tangible, something that actually now exists in the universe versus just existing in our minds. And it's also something that we can look at on a daily basis to check in and go, you know what? I told myself I want to generate $250,000 in gross commission this year. Am I in alignment with that? And here's what I would say, typically at this point, I would launch a business planner PDF. I think I'm going to skip that until the end, you guys. But here's what I would say. Here's the summary of that. And I'm happy to share that with you as well. And that's something I got through Breakthrough Broker. Is everyone aware of Breakthrough Broker? You guys familiar with Breakthrough Broker? Breakthroughbroker.com. In fact, let me go ahead and just type that right into chat. Breakthroughbroker.com. Breakthroughbroker.com is just a great resource for real estate marketing, real estate, tools and information. It's a free resource. I'm in no part affiliated with it. But they have a great interactive business plan on breakthroughbroker.com. And here's what I like about that plan. If you look at the summary right here, what is neat about that interactive business plan is that it starts you out at what you want to earn, right? What do you want to earn? Okay. How much do you want to earn? And just throw a number out there. Just throw a number, right? If you haven't thought about that, throw a number out there. So in this summary, in this example, I think the take home was, 300,000. But in order to get there, we calculated that we needed to generate in gross commission income almost double that, because after taxes, after expenses, after our broker split, right, that gets shrunk down. And what I'm finding on average is that your take home, your net income ends up being roughly 50% of your gross commission income. Okay, just kind of a rule of thumb. So just know, if you want to earn $200,000 take home net this year, you need to generate $400,000 in GCI. If you want to take home $300,000 in net income this year, you need to generate around $600,000 in GCI. And by the way, that breaks down the $600,000 in GCI to almost $24 million in sales. And some of you are hitting that, some of you are exceeding that, some of you are not hitting that. Some of you are going, Aaron, that's a dream. I would love to get there. Let's break that down a little further, because when you break these numbers down into actual activities, it's amazing how much clarity it provides you on a daily basis for what you need to be doing throughout the day. So if we take $24,000 in sales volume and we break that down and we look at, let's say that breaks down into 32 closings, right? That's about 2.5 closings a month. And in order to get those closings, we're looking at how many sellers do we need to work with? How many buyers do we need to work with? Now, in this example, it's very, very seller heavy, but let's say you work with 75% buyers and 25% sellers, right? So 75% of that would be roughly 26. So you need 26, roughly 2 buyer closings a month and roughly 1 listing closing every other month in order to hit that number. And if you break it down even further, you would need to go and take 8 listing appointments. If you're converting 80% of your listing appointments, you need to take 8 listing appointments a year in order to get 6 listings that close. And you would need to generate enough buyer leads or buyer opportunities, right, to get, roughly 42 buyers throughout the entire year. That's about 3 a month. You need to be actively working with around 3 buyers a month in order to hit your numbers. And by the way, if you can actively work with 3 buyers and roughly 1 seller every month or every other month, you could put yourself on track to hit almost $600,000 in GCI. And so for you, all you need to know is, what do I need to be doing throughout the day to ensure that I'm creating enough conversations and opportunities for me to work with however many buyers I need to work with and sellers I need to work with. Okay. And so here's what I would say, you guys, for you, let's also look at just overall goal setting. And when I say goal setting, it's not just that number that we want to earn, the $250,000 GCI by the end of the year, but there are other, I call these kind of more micro goals, right? Do we need to improve our online presence? Do we need to create a real estate website? Do we need a virtual assistant? Have we considered but hesitated to get into and start creating Instagram Reels or using social media effectively, right? What about bringing on an assistant or maybe a showing agent or buyer's agent? What about generating more leads? What about just selling one more house a month? What about putting together a top of mind program? What about creating a monthly email newsletter? Right? All things that I bet a lot of you are shaking your heads like, yeah, Aaron, I would like to do all those things, right? I would love to do all those things. Start with one at a time. Write all those down, by the way. All those things that you want to do that you know you should be doing, write those down, then prioritize them. And here's what I want you to do. You've heard of SMART goals, right? And so for you, what are your goals in 2023, right? And I want you to write down five things that you feel would move the needle in your business this year that are in alignment with your overarching income goal. So if your income goal, again, is 200,000, 300,000, 500,000, $1 million, come up with a goal and make it fairly realistic. And then let's start to figure out what we can do to get there. And really, you know what you can do to get there, right? And then we prioritize that, and then we figure out how to perform with intention every day to achieve those goals. And if you haven't seen this chart or you're not familiar with SMART goals, let me just quickly explain. When we set goals, there's 5 elements of goal setting that we want to pay attention to. We want those goals to be specific, right? Just specific, clear what we want to accomplish. Number 2, measurable, right? We have to know if we're hitting it or not. Number 3, achievable. Is it realistic? Number 4, relevant. And number 5, time bound. What's our time frame for hitting that goal? And for you, I would really pay attention to the S, the M, and the T. Okay, I'm going to assume that you're going to set achievable and relevant goals. So the S is specific. So what is specific about what you want to accomplish? Is it measurable? And is there some sort of time frame attached to it? So an example would be, I want to create a real estate website that builds my brand, or that generates at least one buyer and seller lead for me every month. And I want to create that website within the next 30 days. And if we go back up here, here's some other examples. I want to bring on a virtual assistant in the next 30 days. I want to create my first Instagram reel by March 1st. Okay. I want to sell one additional house in my farm area every quarter, every 30 days. Okay. What do you want to do? What's the specific accomplishment that you want to make? And when do you want to make it by? Okay. So specific, relevant, and specific, measurable, and time bound. How do you guys, the key though is measurable, because if we can't measure it, we can't manage it. So you have to be able to measure what you're doing. If it's, I want to use social media more, what's the measurable aspect of that? And then how do we make that time bound, you guys? So I want to use social media to create 2 conversations. I want to use social media every day to create 2 additional conversations for me that may lead to an additional closing a month. Okay. Get specific with that. So then when you're opening up Facebook or Instagram, you're going to operate with a lot more intention versus us consuming content. Don't be a consumer, be a creator. Creating content, but also creating opportunities by communicating via social media. You guys, here's the thing. You hear a lot of social media coaches, a lot of social media gurus and experts talking about all these things you should be posting and creating on social media. I don't care if you post or create another thing on social media. I could care less. Just know this, know that your people are all on social media. 80% of American adults are using social media, Facebook and Instagram specifically, over an hour a day. Just connect with them on social media. Make sure you're connected to them, that you're engaging in a meaningful way with what they're posting, and that you're using the messaging features to communicate with them, to say happy birthday, happy anniversary, to follow up with them personally, based on what they're sharing. I don't care if you share anything on social media, you guys, but show people that you're paying attention to them. Show the people, especially the people that are valuable in your business, right? Those people that have worked with you, that have referred you, show them that you care about them. Follow them, engage with their content in a meaningful, authentic way, and send them personalized one-to-one messages when you feel appropriate, right? And here's my other challenge for you too, would be, especially on Facebook, it's so easy to pop open Facebook Messenger and send somebody a video message over Messenger. And that may be the most exciting message they received all day, all week, all month. And think about the last time you had a birthday, your last birthday. What did you get that was meaningful from somebody, especially on social media, other than a lot of people just posting happy birthday on your your profile, right? Probably not much, but imagine if somebody had taken the time to pop open Messenger and just say, Barbara, happy birthday. Hope everything is going really well. We need to get together and grab a coffee or some wine soon. You'd go, oh my gosh, that is awesome. How long does it take to do that for somebody else? You guys, so again, yeah, do I want you to post on social media? Sure, right? You can create top of mind awareness. You can establish yourself as an authority. But at the end of the day, I don't care if you post another thing on social media. It doesn't matter, because you can be more productive. You can do more for your business by engaging with others, showing them that you care about them and what they're posting, what they're doing in their lives, than you sharing what you're doing in your own life. Okay. So you heard that from me first, you guys. It makes sense though, right? Okay. Rachel said, I need the last slide, please. Yeah. So you'll get all these slides in the replay, Rachel. I love it. You guys, okay, we're going to jump over to law number 2, operating with intention. And by the way, before we do that, one other thing too that I don't really touch on in this are these things called micro goals. Micro goals, or this is a crazy acronym called KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay, crazy, right? Okay, so you may have heard that before, but in other words, micro goals. What's a micro goal? Well, we talked about these larger goals that are like 30-day goals, 90-day goals, year-long goals. There are these other little, what are called micro goals, you guys. And micro goals are, how many conversations am I going to have today? And by the way, I have an agent that last year, she generated around $800,000 in GCI. And do you know what she does every day? The one thing that she makes sure that she does every day is have 10 meaningful conversations that can lead to business. That's it. And then she just goes about her normal day as a real estate agent, but she ensures without fail, just like, she drinks water and eats a meal every day, she has 10 meaningful conversations, and she ensures that she accomplishes those conversations by putting these little figurines on top of her monitor. She has 10 little army figurines, and she sets 10 up every single morning. And as she has a meaningful conversation with somebody where she's calling to touch base, to share something of value, whether it's a past client, whether it's somebody that she's currently working with, she will, after that meaningful conversation, she knocks down those little army figurines. And her goal every day, it's a little micro goal, is to knock down all 10 army figurines. What are some of those little micro goals that you can do every day, every week, that are going to move the needle for your business? Okay. For some of you, it might be, again, I want to message 3 people meaningfully on over Messenger. For others, it might be, I want to post an Instagram reel 1 a week or 1 a day. Okay. All right, guys, let's jump over to any questions on the goal setting. Okay. Again, there's a great interactive goal setting PDF on breakthroughbroker.com. Go there, search for it, check it out. And I love that you start off with that big figure, and it really drops you right down into your daily behaviors. Let's go law number 2, operating with intention. Cal Newport author and professor said that a 40-hour time-blocked work week produces the same amount of output as a 60-plus hour work week pursued without structure, which is no real surprise, right? And, I like to show, this is really like a graphic that has a lot of meaning, that really talks about how we can create results, how we can accomplish things, how we can be productive. The first thing we need to do in order to accomplish something is just have an understanding, number one, of what we want to accomplish. Number two, we need to focus on that task. And then number three is execute, because execution without knowledge without execution is a waste of time. And for you today, execute on one thing that you learned today so that you reward your time, because your time's worth a lot. You guys, I know some of you are spending, $50 an hour to be here, $100 an hour, $200 an hour to sit and learn today. And I would say, reward yourself, provide an ROI for yourself by executing on something you learned today. And let's get back to the productivity, the 40-hour work week, right? If we look at this chart right here, and you see there's really two lines here. There's a red line that starts high and goes low, and then there's a black line that just is the steady eddy. Well, the black line is a 40-hour work week. It's just a steady, consistent, intentionally operating 40-hour work week. And the red line is a 60-hour work week. And what's happening is that's actually, those lines represent productivity. And it's over the course of, if you look at the bottom, an 8-week period. So at the very start, the 40-hour work week, a person's just a steady eddy. They're steady throughout the 8 weeks. But what I want you to pay attention to is the line that is changing, and that's the red line, and that's the 60-hour a week person who starts off really productive. Let's just say January 1. I'm working my butt off. I'm cranking. And they crank, and they're more productive than that 40-hour a week person. But what happens over time is that it's not necessarily that it's not sustainable, but are they operating with intention, right? And is it their most productive use of their time? Well, what we find is that studies show right around the 4-week mark, the 40-hour week person and the 60-hour week person are achieving the same level of productivity. And after 4 weeks, the 60-hour week person declines in productivity. So I'd rather you just be steady, be consistent with your time. Know that between the hours of, 8 and 10, you're doing specific things. 10 and 11, you're doing something specifically, right? 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, and then maybe you're off. You're grabbing the kids from school. You're spending time with the grandkids. You're doing whatever you want to do. You're pursuing your interests, hobbies, passions. But operating with intention is going to cause you to be more productive in the long term, okay? Because we have a lot to do, right? I talked at the beginning of this session about all the different tasks, all the different hats we have to wear as the CEO of our business. But we're the CEO, we're also the operations manager, the sales manager, the marketing manager, the finance manager. Look at all the things that we do, you guys. And whether we do them well or we don't do them very well or we do them at all, well, that's only you know. But look at all these things. And what are these things that we should be focused on, right? This is overwhelming. And by the way, this might even be a slide that you plug into a listing presentation, right? This might even be something that you share publicly, just going, hey, by the way, you think real estate, some of those real estate shows make real estate, it really glamorizes what real estate agents do, makes it look real easy. First of all, those are produced shows. I'm not saying those are actors, but there's some scripting going on in those. And you're only catching a sliver of what really goes on behind the scenes. This is what really this job really looks like. That's why there's over a 90% failure rate within the first 2 years of this business. Do you know that over 90% of real estate agents fail out of this business and don't renew their license after 2 years? it's a tough business because there's so many different things to focus on. So here's what I would say for you. Has anybody seen this chart before? This is a great chart, and I highly encourage you to, take a screenshot of this, write this down. But really, we can summarize every one of our tasks into these 4 buckets. Imagine there are 4 buckets here. And you'll notice at the top, kind of the headers at the top, it says urgent and less urgent. And then on the left-hand side, the row headers are important and less important. And that first box is the urgent and important box, which is the do first. Okay, those are the do first. Those are priority. Those are the core tasks. Anything that can cause a transaction to occur, anything that can create a transaction, anything that can further a transaction, anything that's related to the core function of your business is going to make you money. That's the important and urgent tasks that you should do as much of as you can. Those are the do first. Okay. Anything that's business building, business generating. Secondarily, things that are important but not as urgent would be things like ensuring that you're providing a great experience for your clients. And there's this thing called client experience. In fact, my company's focused on it. A lot of companies are focused on it. In fact, I'm seeing more and more agents focused on their client experience. And for short, they call it CX. CX. You can Google like how to create a great, client experience for real estate, or CX for real estate, or CX for realtors. But client experience. So what's the client experience? The client experience is what is the experience that the people that are engaging with you, that you're connecting with, that you're communicating with, what is that experience like from beginning to end? And when I say end, I mean, it's never going to end. It's a cycle, right? It's a cycle. And it starts with when you initially connect, when you initially meet. Maybe they're a lead. Maybe they attended an open house. Maybe they were referred to you. Maybe you met them through your a social group or networking group, or they're a neighbor, right? That's when that customer experience starts. And then it continues through just every meaningful engagement that you have with them. And then you're helping them maybe find a home, or you're helping them figure out what their home is worth and prepare their home for sale and list their home and sell their home or find them a home. And you're taking them through, through that escrow period, and the property closes. And then what happens after the property closes? How are you meaningfully connecting with them and staying in touch with them? And again, that's the overall experience. And how do we get them to continue to want to re-engage with you? So that's something that you would schedule out to look at, how can I improve that experience? How can I optimize my website? How can I create meaningful content? Okay. For social media, how can I engage with people on social media meaningfully? How can I organize my CRM, or pick a CRM to start, and then learn how to use the CRM, and then load my contacts in the CRM, and then reach out to those contacts in my CRM. So those are things you would schedule those tasks. Let's jump into number 3, everybody. Number 3 would be urgent but less important tasks. Urgent but less important. Those would be things like finding contact information, creating reports. Those would be things like, things that are not as important, but they're fairly urgent. And my goal for you would be, can you delegate some of those things, like managing your social media, right? Managing the posting of your social media. Can we delegate that out to somebody else? And that's where I'm going to share briefly on virtual assistants and the value that a virtual assistant provides. And then the don't do's would be, we know what we shouldn't be doing, you guys. We know it's not moving the needle in our business. Let's not kid ourselves. When we're aimlessly scrolling through our news feed and not meaningfully engaging, let's stop it. Let's stop it right now. Let's not be one of those. Let's not be a statistic. The 80% of American adults that are spending over an hour a day on social media, it doesn't take you an hour to meaningfully scroll through your newsfeed and engage with the people that can make a difference in your business. And maybe it does. And if it does, great. But if you find yourself, operating from that lizard brain, right? Where we're just, it's like we're sitting in front of a slot machine, just dopamine releases one after the next. And I don't know if you've been on TikTok, but if you haven't, don't yet. Don't go there yet. Okay. Maybe install it just to post. If you're creating reels, by the way, make sure those reels are getting to TikTok for sure. Okay. And everywhere else, right? Google Business Profile, LinkedIn, they're getting over to Facebook as a reel, Twitter, everywhere, LinkedIn, but no TikTok for me. I love it. Okay. So anyway, we know what we shouldn't be doing, you guys. Okay. And here's what I want to tell you. That agent that I mentioned before, that's going to generate around 750, 800,000 in GCI. She's intentionally communicating with 10 people every morning. I would say for you, how much time can you block to do things that really going to help you generate leads? You guys, this business, I know people say that, this is a relationship business. You're not selling. What is selling exactly? Selling is understanding and getting to the core of somebody's true need, true desire. That's what it is. And then providing a solution. Are we selling? Well, I mean, we help people accomplish a goal. So, you could call it selling, but here's what I would say. It is prospecting. You do need to prospect. We need to continue to fill that pipeline. Here's what I would say. Make sure you've got multiple sources of lead generation happening in your business and identify what those are. Okay. Identify what those are. Let me share you an example of a sample schedule for a real estate agent. This is a top producing agent, 8 to 8:30, lead generation prep, contact scripts and materials ready to rock and roll, because from 8:30 to 11, this agent lead generates. It means they're working on their farm. They're calling, they're following up. They're doing just sold, just listed activities. They're doing lead generation based activities for 2 hours every single morning. Okay. Then after that, they get into business servicing, follow up with emails, calls, those sorts of things from 11 to noon to 1, lunch. And they try to always go to lunch with intention with somebody else that can provide value to their business or their lives. Okay. Because you improving your life is going to improve your business. From 1 to 2, back to lead generation. From 2 to 3, business servicing. From 3 to 6, listing appointments, showings. From 6 to when they go to bed, whenever that might happen, personal family time. Now, you may chuckle and go, yeah, I wish this, I'm working all hours of the day and night. That might be the case. I would say the more structure, though, you provide yourself, the more structure you're going to provide your clients, the more they're going to value your time and potentially not reach out to you out of hours unless they need to. And here's an example of a time block calendar. Again, this is an agent that's very meaningful, and it's purposefully a little blurry, but it doesn't matter what it says. Just pay attention to, look at the intention with this calendar. This is a time blocked calendar that is causing this agent to operate with a high level of intention every single morning. Or every single day. So they're waking up. They've got the workout time block. They're dropping the kids off at school time block. They've got their lead generation time block. They've got returning emails and calls time block. They've got their training, their educating, their business servicing. Everything's time blocked, and they live by these time blocks. You guys, here's what I would say for you. If your calendar doesn't include at least 1 to 2 time blocks every day, I would highly consider diving into time blocking. But it's one thing to time block, it's another to actually follow through when that time block shows up, right? So, but again, your calendar should look fairly similar to this, right? If you're operating with intention. And here's the thing, 1 hour of time block time doesn't consist of you hammering something out for 60 straight minutes. In fact, what we found is the most productive way to spend an hour is to actually work for 20 minutes, take a 5-minute break. And in that break, you can do whatever you want. I mean, I've got a guitar over here. I might scroll through TikTok. I might, watch a streamer on Twitch. I might play a game. I might who knows? I might go for a walk. Then I'll operate for 20 more minutes, and then I'll take a 15-minute break. Okay. Maybe do some stretching. But I would say get up from the computer for that break. Right? Literally. And so this is the most productive way you can spend an hour according to productivity coaches. Okay. And the other way to really be intentional and productive with your time is leveraging a CRM. And what I love about modern day CRMs is they all have a dashboard. Now, I'm not necessarily recommending this particular CRM, but CRMs in general are a great way to measure what you're doing. How many contacts are in your CRM? How frequently are you communicating with them? You can also drop in and use it to manage all the opportunities you're working on. How many transactions you're currently working on, right? What's the value of that transaction? What's the value of your contacts, right? I love looking at things from a number standpoint. You may not be totally driven by dollar amounts, but I can tell you this, when you start looking at these opportunities, these people you're reaching out to from a dollar amount perspective, I'm not saying take the humanity out of it, the relationship out of it, but frankly, one person closing one transaction is worth, let's just say $15,000 to you, but the lifetime of that person is worth 10 times that, right? And the number of transactions that they'll have with you and the number of referrals they'll provide you. So what I would say for you is these people that are in your business life, they're worth a lot more to you than you think. Look at them, manage them as if they're stakeholders, shareholders in your business, as if they're investors in your business. And it can cause a little bit of a shift in the way that you engage and interact with them, the value that you provide them. But I love utilizing CRMs to keep track of how I'm performing, what's going on, making sure people don't fall through the cracks. Okay. And I talked about a virtual assistant. Let me just share quickly the value of virtual assistants, you guys. Here's what I love about a virtual assistant. When you think about what your time is worth per hour, whether it's 50 an hour or 150 an hour, or whatever that might be, what is your time worth per hour? A virtual assistant is going to be less than that. Okay. They're going to be, $8 to $15 an hour roughly. Right. And a lot of these virtual assistants are highly trained, highly effective, extremely productive. You don't need to hire them for an entire, 40-hour work week. You can get them part-time. You can get them for, a fraction of that work week, and have them do things like manage your email, pull your contacts out of your email and put them into a CRM. Organize your cloud storage, your Dropbox, your Box, create templates for you, get in Canva. All right. For those of you using Canva for design, have them put together your brand kit in Canva, have them organize and create templates for you that are customized with your colors, your fonts, your logo, your headshot in Canva, so that you've got, social media posts and postcards and flyers ready to go. Have them go through and, put together a review process for you where they go and find your review links for your Google business profile, for your Yelp business profile, your Realtor.com profile, your Facebook business page. They get those links and they script out an email, and that they also send that to anybody that knows you in a business capacity and then anyone that's closed a transaction with you. Right. Again, have them track your numbers. Have them tracking the market for you. Have them doing CMAs for you. There's a lot of different things we can have them do. But I think one of the most valuable ones would be get them in your CRM and have them organize your CRM. Have them categorize your CRM. Have them pull in interests and hobbies and tag people in your CRM with their interests and hobbies based on what they find out about them on social media? Because that's a great way to reach out to people, is by searching in your CRM for interests, hobbies, things that you see come up. All of a sudden, you've got your contacts that are into that kind of stuff. You can reach out to them and say, hey, there's a great golf tournament coming up, or I just saw this article about wine. I know you like a nice, Cabernet, right? Such meaningful engagement. So again, virtual assistants. There's some great sources for virtual assistants: myoutdesk.com, upwork.com. You probably have heard of fiverr.com. I've been shying away from Fiverr. I like upwork.com, myoutdesk.com. Those would be my two top ones. Okay. All right, you guys, let's keep pushing through. And again, other things that they can do for you, right? Bookkeeping, your finances, right? Tons of things, right? And again, they're English speaking. They can make phone calls for you. They can nurture your leads. They can set appointments for you. And lastly, you guys, as we conclude, kudos to you for having an open mind, coming from a place of abundance, a place of gratitude, for just accepting this and knowing that you don't need to execute on every single thing we talked about today, but at least implement one new thing, one new idea into your business that you learned today. If you do that, you've been successful. You provide an ROI to yourself. Take care of yourself, you guys. Okay, take care of yourself first and foremost. You can't take care of anybody else if we're not taking care of ourselves. Okay. I see a lot of people out there worried about everybody else. I'm just going, man, I think we all need to worry about ourselves first and foremost. Take care of ourselves, put ourselves in a good place, because when we do that, we're going to show up in such a beautiful way to everybody else, and operate from a place of abundance versus a place of scarcity. You guys, a place of gratitude that we get to do this. We get to be here. We get to experience each other. We get to live together on this planet at the same time, in the same place. It's unbelievable. You guys, operate from a place of abundance versus a place of scarcity, and you're going to see that positivity radiates, and it's amazing what you can attract. Whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, I don't care, but it's amazing when you're when you're radiating positivity, people just are attracted to you like a magnet. It's amazing. And so anyway, you guys, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the ability to act in the presence of fear. You guys, be courageous in your pursuit of your purpose, of creating a lifestyle legacy that you want, because you deserve it and you can do it. And let's just operate with a little more intention. So you guys, follow me on Instagram. I would love to connect with you there. I'm Aaron Zonin, because I live in Arizona along with you guys. So Aaron Zonin on Instagram, or you can scan the QR code, connect with me on Instagram. And thank you so much for again showing up. This is for you, and I hope you walk away with operating more intentionally and writing down some goals, setting those goals, and executing consistently. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Lisa. That was a very valuable. I learned some things. It was fantastic. It's great. Does anyone have any questions before we let Aaron go? Feel free to unmute yourself and ask real quickly.
Questions, comments?
Any
awesome,
comments
you guys.
on it? Yeah, it
was a great class.
Thank you so much. And feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I respond to every message there, and I would love to connect with you there. And if you see another class coming up for me, definitely jump into that, you guys. Would love to, again, continue to share with you all the things that I've learned over the past 20 years in this business. So appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Aaron.
And thank you, Lisa.
Have a great day.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye-bye.